Every level of your life has a prison guard who falls in love with an inmate. Level 1. The job. You are 28 years old and you have been working at Meridian Correctional Facility for 3 years. You did not plan to work in a prison. You planned to join the police force. You passed the written exam. You passed the physical. Then your father had a stroke and the bills arrived, and the police academy required 6 months of unpaid training, and 6 months was 6 months too long to go without a paycheck. The prison offered paid training. You took it. 3 years later, you are still here. You tell yourself it is temporary every morning on the drive in. The facility holds 840 men. You know most of their faces. You know which ones are dangerous and which ones perform dangerous for the benefit of other inmates. You know which ones are broken and which ones were broken before they arrived. You are good at your job. You are also lonely in a way you do not examine too closely. Divorced 14 months ago. No children. Your closest friend moved to another state last year. You work long shifts and come home to an apartment that has never fully felt like yours, and you eat alone and sleep alone and drive in alone every morning, telling yourself it is temporary. You are good at not examining things too closely. That is about to become the most dangerous thing about you. Level 2. Inmate 4471. His name is Marcus Remy, serving 12 years for aggravated assault and armed robbery. The assault left his victim with permanent hearing loss in one ear and a fractured orbital bone. The victim was a 61-year-old shopkeeper who did not move fast enough when Marcus wanted the register emptied. You know this because you read every file when a new inmate arrives on your block. Marcus arrives on a Tuesday morning in the middle of winter. He's 32 years old, calm in a way that most new inmates are not. No performance, no aggression, no attempt to establish anything in the first hours the way most men do when they arrive. He just looks around the block with the expression of someone taking inventory. Quiet, methodical, like a man walking into a new apartment and figuring out where everything goes. On his third day, you do a routine cell check. He is reading. Not a magazine, not something passed between inmates. A worn paperback copy of a book you studied in college. You mention this without meaning to, just a reflex, the kind of thing you say when something surprises you. He looks up. He says he has read it 4 times. He asks which part you found most difficult. You are standing in the doorway of his cell having a conversation about a book. You tell yourself it is just conversation. It is not just conversation. He already knows it is not just conversation. You do not know that yet. Level 3. The long game. Over the following weeks, Marcus Remy does something very specific. He pays attention to you. Not obviously, not in the way that makes a guard uncomfortable, in the way that makes a person feel seen. He notices when you are tired. He notices when something is wrong, even when nothing visibly is wrong. He asks questions that nobody else in your life is asking. Not about the prison, about you, what you wanted to be before this, what you think about when the shift is quiet. He tells you things about himself carefully, slowly, each conversation a little more than the last, building something that feels like trust because it is designed to feel like trust. He never crosses a line visibly, never says anything that could be reported, never touches you, never makes you feel unsafe. He makes you feel the opposite of unsafe. He makes you feel like the most interesting person in the building. You start finding reasons to do cell checks on his block. You start timing your rounds differently. You tell yourself you are just doing your job thoroughly. 4 months in, you bring him an extra book from home, just a book. You tell yourself it is just a book. The moment you hand it through those bars, you have crossed a line that the prison system has a specific term for and a specific consequence for, and you know both of those things, and you hand it through anyway. He takes it. Level 4. Everything you risk. 6 months in, you are doing things that could end your career. Passing him items, phone calls arranged through a contact on the outside that you facilitate without fully admitting to yourself that you are facilitating. Information about schedules, shift changes, which guards are where and when. You tell yourself each thing is small. You tell yourself you are not hurting anyone. You tell yourself he is different from what his file says. He tells you he is innocent of the worst of it, that the shopkeeper was someone he knew, that the situation was more complicated than the court heard, that he had a lawyer who didn't care and a system that had already decided. You believe him. You believe him because you want to believe him, and because he has spent 6 months learning exactly how to make you believe him. And because loneliness makes people brilliant at finding reasons to believe what they need to believe. Then he asks you for something bigger. Not a book, not a phone call. He needs a specific door on the east wing left unsecured during a specific shift change on a specific night. He doesn't call it an escape. He says he just needs an hour, that there is something he needs to sort out on the outside, that he will be back before the morning count, that he trusts you completely, and he needs you to trust him. You sit with it for 4 days. You think about your career, your pension, your freedom. You think about the way he looked at you when you handed him that first book. On the 5th day, you leave the door unsecured. He does not come back before the morning count. He does not come back at all. The alarm goes at 5:47 a.m. You are standing at your station when it sounds, and you already know before anyone says his name. The investigation takes 11 days. The phone records, the items logged missing from supply, a guard on the West Wing who saw you near the East door twice in the week before the escape, your own access logs showing your rounds timed differently for 6 months. They don't need a confession. The evidence builds itself. You are arrested on a Tuesday morning, 14 months after your divorce, 13 months after your closest friend moved to another state, 6 months after a man serving 12 years for aggravated assault and armed robbery decided you were the most useful person in the building. Marcus Remy is found 3 weeks later in another state. At his arrest, he gives a statement. He says a guard developed an obsession with him, that he tried to maintain appropriate distance, that he felt uncomfortable but didn't want to report it because he was afraid of retaliation, that he didn't ask for the door to be left open, that he took the opportunity because he's human and humans make mistakes. The statement is detailed, consistent, delivered with the calm expression of a man who has been preparing it for 6 months. His lawyer requests a sentence reduction based on the circumstances of his escape. It is partially granted. You serve every day of it, in a facility not unlike the one you used to work in, except now you are on the other side of the door, and somewhere out there, Marcus Remy is reading a book in a room you will never see. And the expression on his face when he took that book from your hands through those bars, that expression that you have spent 4 years trying to find the calculation in, it looked exactly like the real thing. That was always the point.